I would like to read a poem by a very recent ancestor and an inspiration to those of us on this stage. Her name is Assata Shakur. If you do not know who she is, we encourage you to find out who she is. This is a poem that begins her autobiography. It is called Affirmation. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls, tricycles and rocking chairs. And I believe that seeds grow into sprouts, and sprouts grow into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and in the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity. I believe in life, and I have seen the death parade march through the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I have seen the destruction of the daylight and seen bloodthirsty maggots prayed to and saluted. I have seen the kind become the blind and the blind become the bind in one easy lesson. I have walked on cut glass. I have eaten crow and blunder bread and breathed the stench of indifference. I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy. And if I know anything at all, it's that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down. Hacking the dietary sustenance tradition versus health. Hacking the comfort, compliance, hacking to the rebellious gene. Hacking the doctrine, capitalism in relation to free labor and slavery. Hacking to the history of the bank is beating the odds, a mere act of joining the winning team. Hacking the desperation and loneliness, the history of community in the marketplace. Hacking the land rights and ownership, hacking the business law, proprietorship. Hacking to ambition and greed, hacking the forms of government, systems of control, their relation to suffering and sufferance, hacking the faith and morality, the treatment of one faith towards another, hacking the masculinity, femininity, sexuality, what is taught, what is felt, what is learned, what is shared, hacking the gods, stories of creation, serpents and eggs, hacking the nature, biodynamics, biodiversity, cycles and seasons, hacking the time, calendars, Descartes, its relationship to doubt. Is it wired to fear? The notion of control, the space-time continuum, the force of gravity, whether the opposite of gravity is freedom. Hacking the freedom, power, responsibility, justice, the Bill of Rights, not to coincidence, the summer of '68. A 27 club, a number of people with Facebook profiles, people who choose to share, people who share too much, people who seem lonely, people who want to connect, people who want to uplift, hacking the self-help, self-sufficiency, and self-indulgence, hacking the crazy, hacking the lunatic, hacking the star, hacking the infamous, notorious, the effects of the construct of poverty on the psyche, the effects of the construct of race, the victims that survived. There is a panel marked survival. 3 simple copper wires coiled round an orb, hacking the orbit, equatorial landmines, useful and precious metals, coltan as cotton. Hacking the hazardous, nuclear, blue clear, cloud forms and fish farms, cow farts and pig shit. Hacking the horse, industrial, digital, hacking the code. Use your instrument as metaphor, harness your craft. Hacking to the mainframe, dismantle definition, dogma and duty. Hacking the destiny, hacking the dreams, subtext and subconscious. Hacking the heart, cardio, Congo, blood rich in oil. Hacking the suffering and despair. Hacking to the unfair advantages of those lucky enough to be born into one family or another, into one condition or another. Hacking to the circumstantial evidence that proves the obvious and wakes the oblivious. Hacking to birthright, bloodlines, royal and tainted. Hacking to superstition, old wives' tales, the rituals of the shaman. Hacking the DNA, chemistry, the pharmaceutical industry, the modern day rape of the forest, the coiling serpents, the time it takes for modern man to determine whether ancient women were foolish or not. Hacking to the database, hacking to the subconscious, the panel marked survival, hacking to celebrity, hacking to the cultural development of taste, hacking to violence, fear, and ignorance. How are they linked? We are here to make links, to draw parallels, to make distinctions, observations. What we have observed is that perhaps there is no time like the present. It's the British poet John Keats who said that poets are midwives of reality. Yet, in this moment, we have the sense that perhaps we are more like death doulas. Death doulas for the end of empire. What we are certain of is that it is more than our governments that are complicit in genocide. What we acknowledge is that it is perhaps our cultures themselves that hold the root of that complicity. That unsaid sense of superiority that is taught and handed down. Even as we gather in this moment and we think of the mothers and children and brothers and fathers who have lost their lives in Sudan, in this moment. We think of the children. What is true of this moment, and perhaps it is a truth that you share with me, is that I have never seen so many dead children. Count fingers, count toes, count blessings. The murders they took no count of is how I learned to count. It is not only the contemporary actions that we speak of. We know what has happened in places like Suriname, Indonesia, I think of the Congo. I think of the uncharted and unrecognized genocides in places like Namibia, the Nama, the Herero, the Lene Lenape, the indigenous of those illegitimate states, Abya Yala. We acknowledge that everything that has been said about the Zionist entity is true of those illegitimate states that they call America. Which is to say that it has no right to exist. On the blood and bones of our ancestors. But we acknowledge the wealth and opulence of Europe. We acknowledge that opulence and wealth, the millions that were made off of slave ships that were sold by this country, for example. I don't know what they teach you in your schools. Nothing. Sounds like they teach you exactly what they taught me in mine. Yet we say land back and abolition. We say indigenous sovereignty and liberation. We understand abolition as the rebellious and creative reimagining of our schools, of our communities. We realize that there is an opportunity because there is a connection that has been forged. Through that which we have all borne witness to. In Palestine, in Yemen, in Iran, the intentional destabilization of the Congo, the intentional destabilization of Haiti, the people in the streets in Madagascar right now, the people in the streets in Tanzania right now, the US Navy ships parked outside of Venezuela right now, all of these have one thing in common. Black death and indigenous erasure, extraction. They say fossil fuels. We say, whose fossils? They would have us imagine that those fossils have developed over time through the death of dinosaurs and mammoths. But what of the people? What of the people? Those over 10 million killed in the Congo for the rubber in the tires of our cars. Our daily comforts. Oh, I can't start my day without coffee. Where does the coffee come from? I like a little sugar in mine. Where does the sugar come from? Oh, I love chocolate. Where does the chocolate come from? Oh, I drive an electric vehicle. Where does the lithium in the battery come from? It comes from the continued practice of Western civilization. They call it technology. They call it human progress. The irony is that if it were truly digital and technological advancement, why is it so deeply rooted in analog forms of exploitation? Glory to the resistance. Glory to all anti-colonial resistance. Glory to all anti-capitalist resistance. We say racial capitalism simply to remind you that all capitalism is racial. It is not simply a matter of the exploitation of workers. It is a matter of black death and indigenous erasure. And we call on the spirit of the martyrs. We ask them to inhabit us and to inhabit this space. We recognize the drum as the earliest form of wireless communication. This is why in those illegitimate states they banned African drums. They banned them, why? Because they realized that we were using them to communicate, and they feared rebellion. How many lives? How many more lives will it take? The poet Audre Lorde says that hope is counter-revolutionary. Pressure cooks. So how do we apply pressure? Clearly, the most obvious way of bringing a machine to a halt would be by withholding our labor globally. As I mentioned, we are here under the guise of music to convene a meeting. Perhaps we're here to remind ourselves of the role of music. For it is music that travels without passports, that crosses borders and boundaries, that are sometimes restricted to us, to our siblings and relatives. You know, I could recite the grass on a hill and memorize the moon. I know the cloud forms of love by heart and have brought tears to the eye of a storm. My memory banks vaults of autumn forests and Amazon river banks. And I've screamed them into sunsets that echo in earthquakes. Shadows have been my spotlight as I monologue the night and dialogue with days. Soliloquies of wind and breeze applauded by sun rays. We put language in zoos to observe caged thought and tossed peanuts and P-funk at intellect. And motherfuckers think these are metaphors. I speak what I see. All words and worlds are metaphors of me. My life is authored by the moon, footprints written in soil. The fountain pen of Martian men noveling human toil. And yes, the soil speaks highly of me. When earth seeds root me, poet, tree, and we forest forever through recitation. Now, maybe I'm too serious, too little here, too matter, though I'm riddled with the reason of the sun. A stand-up comet with the audience of lungs. This body of laughter isn't with me or at me, humor or less human, though gender's mute. And the punchline has this lifeline at its root. I'm a star, this life's the suburbs, I commute. Make daily runs between the sun and earthly loot. And raise my children to the height of light and truth. If I could find the spot where truth echoes, I would stand there and whisper memories of my children's future. I would let their future dwell in my past so that I might live a brighter now. Now is the essence of my domain, and it contains all that was and will be, and I am as I was and will be because I am and always will be. That nigga. I am that nigga. I am that timeless nigga that swings on pendulums like vines through minds of booby-trapped minds that are enslaved by time. I'm the life that supersedes lifetimes I am. It was me with serpentine hair and a timeless stare, but the mortal glare to mortal fear in the stone time capsules. They still exist as the walking dead as I do. The original sufferhead, symbol of life and matriarchy, severed head Medusa. I am. It was me, the ecclesiastical one, that pointed out that there was nothing new under the sun. And through times of laughter and times of tears, so that no times are real times, because all times are fear. The wise seer Solomon, I am. It was me with tattered clothes that made you scatter as you shuffled past me on the street. Yes, you shuffled past me on the street as I stood there conversing with wind-blown spirits. And I fear it's yours, you didn't stop and talk to me. I could have told you your future as I explained your present, but instead, I'm the homeless, schizophrenic resent for being aimless. The in-tuned nameless I am. I am that nigga. I am that nigga. I am a Negro, yes, Negro, Negro from necro, meaning death. I overcame it to the name me after it, and then be spitting at death behind and putting kick me signs on its back, because I am not the son of shaklack clack. I am before that. I am before. I am before. Before death is eternity, after death is eternity. There is no death, there's only eternity, and I'll be riding on the wings of eternity like, yeah!